Wow, how did I get here?
We teleported.
Wow, that saves a lot of money on a bumpy ride airplane and airfare.
And bad airports. But
Yep.
I think it helped because I was wearing my Ninja Turtle pants today and they somehow teleported on me with me. So I don't know how.
Wow.
So this is where you'll be staying.
This place looks pretty good and pretty comfortable.
Mm-hmm. So now let's go meet up with Mark at Dawnstar's.
Alright.
After you.
Hey, this is Mark Rodriguez here.
Johnny Rodriguez.
And Wendy. Hey guys.
Yep, this is Video Game Masters, and we're going to go to some arcade places here and there. We're going to start it off with Dawnstar. If you guys remember, the last time it was, shut down, it was moved to another location. This here is the new location. So now with Johnny in tow, let's check it out.
The first things we noticed with Dawnstar Games was that it wasn't an arcade bar like the Circuit or Draft Cade. It was a retro gaming store with an extra arcade section near the back. You can find all sorts of games for like classic consoles or even the consoles themselves like the NES or the SNES, original PlayStation, the Xbox, even a TurboGrafx 16 and so forth. There's also a cool collection of anime figures, DVDs, and manga you can buy. I was like, where's the controllers? This is the one that we used to play.
Oh, that's a NES Power Ranger game?
Super Nintendo, yeah.
Yeah, we actually own it.
Yeah, I had it somewhere too. I don't know where it is now.
Alright, so let's take a look at the arcades. You get a cool lineup of arcade games and home console games, some of them which are actually used for weekly tournaments like Smash Brothers, but most of all, you also get these rare and awesome Japanese arcade games too. Johnny was checking out some of the classics like Darkstalkers and Street Fighter 3, while Jupes and I found this cool Sailor Moon arcade beat 'em up.
Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon is a two-player beat-em-up released in 1995 by Banpresto and Gazelle. It roughly follows the first story arc of the series, as the original 5 Sailor Soldiers would consist of Moon, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Venus fight off the evil forces of Queen Beryl. Now we only say roughly because you only face off against half of the Shiteno before going straight to Beryl, and you don't even have the Metalia fight, which is weird, but okay. Now the rest of the bosses were some of the Yoma that the Sailor Soldiers faced in the series. Like, for example, the first episode's villain was Naru's mother, who was possessed and, collecting all the crystal's power, and Naru was even in the background being choked, and, Sailor Moon would save her. This is the first, she was the very first boss in the anime. Yeah. So I can get rid of the boss. She should have been the first boss. No, the other one kind of like... Now, aside from the usual punches, kicks, throws, and hold attacks, each Sailor Soldier has several screen-filling super attacks, but this depends on how many crystals that they find during the stage. And the higher the crystal, the stronger the attack. Now, the game was okay, but oh my gosh, the friendly fire and the fact that this game was missing so much, and given when it was released, they had no excuse. The arc was already done in the manga and the anime. I don't know why they cut all this stuff out.
Johnny and Jupes also tried out Nostalgia, a piano-style music game produced by Konami on March of 2017. It's similar to several other music rhythm games where you gotta press the buttons in time with the scrolling arrows along with the musical beat, except that this time it's like you're playing a piano with actual piano keys.
I really like this Bimani release, which is the music video game department of Konami. It got its name due to the success of the Beatmania series. Now, Nostalgia was a fun game, and I really wish I could have played more to learn mechanics a bit better. I'm the type to just hop right in and just play and figure it out as I go. No tutorial for me, that's no fun. Now, the only downside is that you have to pick a song in an allotted amount of time. So you have to read fast, and most of it is Japanese. Or you can just go in blindly, just pick a song and go. There was also this fun game called Waka, a rhythm game developed and published by Marvelous and released in 2019. It was in several test markets in Japan back in 2018, including the Sega Akihabara building. And seriously, that place is awesome if you ever go there. It's like a big arcade and I love it. Unfortunately, I didn't see the game while I was there because it was released right after I left. Now, you also have the ability to save your progress using the Sega All.net online system, or you could just use the Bandai Namco Band Passport IC cards, which are used for many games in Japan, including stuff like Taiko no Tetsujin. Now, as of 2022, all the cabinets have been in offline mode, so you can't use the Sega online saving system anymore, but I'm going to assume that maybe you can still use your cards. You have a decent mix of several songs used like in popular anime or some J-pop, and also a good anime theme that I think a lot of people know is the intro to Neon Genesis Evangelion, Sankoko na Tenshi no Teze. Please don't claim us, YouTube.
But I did miss some things. This? Okay, what's my score?
New record!
Yeah, I got triple A's this time. Okay, and I do the second one.
Let's check out the Battletoads arcade game. It was released in 1994 by Rare and Electronics Arts. It's a 3-player beat-em-up that lets you choose Rash, Sitz, and Pimple as they stop the Dark Queen from ruling the universe. Since this is the arcades, the Battletoads are more wild and edgier this time around. You got Toads shoving their drills into the enemy faces as blood gushes out, and they grab certain enemies by the balls and punch them while they're stunned. You won't see that in the NES game.
One thing worth noting is that this is one of the few Battletoads games where you can actually play as all 3 characters without one being missing or captured or whatever else. And oddly enough, the Dark Queen herself is not the final boss in the game. Instead, you fight off against Robo Manus in this stage that's pretty much a shoot 'em up level. The game was a lot of fun, and since it is an arcade game, it focused a lot more on the beat 'em up aspect and not all the crazy impossible hard challenges that the regular console games would have. Now, it did take a while, but this game was actually released for home consoles, at least the Xbox One, in 2015 as part of a compilation game called Rare Replay. Alright guys, we had a lot of fun here with Dawnstar Arcade, and
It was a lot of fun.
yep, and hey, Jupi even got something there.
Yep. Since he has never played this, I got this so that he can play it.
Yep, Kingdom Hearts. So now that we got that, off to Draft Cade.
Yep, off to Draft Cade, and this is the first game before the story got so convoluted. I was like, I'm sorry, Kingdom Hearts, I'm sick of you.
Alright guys, so here we are. We're back at Draft Cade, but the difference is that this time, Johnny's with us.
Hey, I'm gonna check it out.
Yep, time for some drinking, time for some gaming. Let's check it out.
Let's go.
Alright, so we're back at Draft Cade, which is full of arcade games, pinball games, basketball hoop games, and of course, a decent collection of draft beers and other drinks. This time, we're going to check out 2 arcade games in particular that we didn't get to cover the first time around. First off, we got WWF WrestleFest, the 1991 sequel to WWF Superstars, both of them being produced by Technos. You can choose from 10 classic wrestlers like Sergeant Slaughter, the $1 Million Man, and the Ultimate Warrior to name a few. You can fight it out in the new Royal Rumble mode where you can take on every wrestler in the game. Similar to the real Royal Rumble, you have to throw the opponents out of the ring, but you have to weaken them up first. You also have a tag team tournament where you face several teams until you take on the Legion of Doom and take their titles. It's a 4-player arcade game, and you can have a tag team of 2 players going up against another tag team of 2 players. There was later on a phone app version of the game with more updated wrestlers, and also another game called Retromania, which is kind of like a sorta sequel to the game, but sadly this actual game here was never released to home consoles so far. Hopefully someday they'll have some kind of Technos collection or lost WWF collection or something that'll bundle both Superstars and WrestleFest. I'd be all for it.
Whoa, they even got Aliens vs. Predator here? This is a cool 3-player Capcom arcade game released in 1994.
In this classic beat 'em up, you can choose between Lieutenant Lin Kurosawa, Major Dutch Shaper, the Predator Hunter, and the Predator Warrior. Each character comes with their own weapon, but you can also pick up other bladed weapons and guns throughout the game. Each fighter has several attacks, including their own version of shooting up the enemies, super attacks by pressing the attack and jump button at the same time, and even special moves that can be done by using those classic Street Fighter style joystick motions. Aliens vs. Predator is kinda stuck in the arcades. In 2019, Capcom released this Capcom Home Arcade, which is a 2-player controller that looks like a giant Capcom logo that you plug into the TV. It was only released in Europe though, and it includes the games you'd kind of expect, like a version of Street Fighter 2, Darkstalkers, and Final Fight, but also Aliens vs. Predator. Hopefully someday this game will be released as a downloadable game for the PlayStation Network or Xbox Live or something like that, because this game is just too good and too much fun to be stuck in the arcades.
Wow, so this is a new studio you have here. And I still see you still got that Chun-Li wall scroll.
Oh yeah, she's not going anywhere. So anyways guys, here's our thoughts on both Dawnstar Arcade and Draft Cade. For Dawnstar Arcade, what can I say? We weren't expecting when we went to check it out that it was both a store and an arcade. And yeah, you know, the store's pretty cool. And Jupe's got some cool stuff there. There's a couple of cool games that later on with more time I'll check it out, see what I can find with the Super Nintendo type games and things like that. And the arcades are pretty cool. It's not like a very big selection, but it's enough. And they have cool arcade games. But the bigger thing that made it very separate from the other places we've been to, a lot of Japanese arcade games and all the Dance ones. I don't think the other ones had those.
DDR, rhythm games, music games.
Yeah, so that kind of stood out because the one we went, you know, the circuit and Draft Cade don't have those. So this one does have like those dance ones and the rhythm one. I like the one that you were playing with the that throw around the circle or whatever to
Waka.
get the rhythm.
Waka.
Yeah.
That was the name of it, Waka.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And of course we got to play Battletoads, the arcade game that was never released for the home version. A Sailor Moon Japanese beat 'em up that was also not released for the home version. So that was kind of cool. We got a chance to check those out. Any thoughts there, Jupes?
Oh man, I enjoyed it very much. I like playing some of these games. I like the fact that it was kind of set up in some of the games were set up Japanese style. And if anyone who's heard me talk about it, I like Japanese style gameplay because if you go to a Japanese arcade, an arcade in Japan, for the most part, you are sitting down and playing the games. You're not standing up playing the games unless it's like, you know, one of the rhythm games or like the piano game or like a DDR doing pada, you know, stuff like that. So this was right up my alley because I can actually feel more relaxed while playing while getting, okay, I'm tired, I want to sit down, like, you know, after playing for such a while, maybe if you're like 5 or 10 years old, yeah, that's fine. But when you're in your 40s, yeah, I want to sit down for a bit. But yeah, I really enjoyed Dawnstars, and I like the fact that the other part is actually a retro shop where you can buy things, and I wanted that Majora's Mask book so bad.
Your thoughts, Johnny?
I enjoyed it a lot. It's a very nice little cozy atmosphere. It has like an old school feel to it because you know you're playing all the old arcades like I don't know, Street Fighter 3, Darkstalkers, the Japanese Sailor Moon game. I like the fact that they actually had Japanese games there.
Yeah, and also something else I'm sorry to interrupt that I forgot to mention. They even had Initial D. I mean, I was just sitting there listening out for the music because one of my old favorite music groups did quite a bit of music for Initial D, mostly for the show. But yeah, I've always kind of liked Initial D music, so yeah.
But yeah, I do like the atmosphere, and I didn't know that was a detail like for Japanese, like in Japanese arcades in general. But I like the detail that you could sit down and play the game very comfortably. Oh, and a very interesting thing, I don't know if that's how they have it in Japan as well, or I don't know, but the Street Fighter 3 game, it's like you could do the whole 2-player thing, but the thing is like one arcade machine is only for the player 1, and the other side of the arcade machine is for player 2. So the screen are still mirrored, like you're still going to see the same game, but it's weird that it's like, if you want to be player 1, you have to sit on this side of the arcade, and then behind the arcade, there's the player 2. So I don't know if they have it like that in Japan, but I did found that very interesting.
Even though I went to a few retro arcades, I didn't really come across, like, I didn't play a lot of fighting games because I was mostly by myself anyway. So I don't recall that at all.
Now I remember in Street Fighter 6 in that arcade mode, like the people are sitting on both sides of the arcade playing each other. So I guess that's the thing over there.
I guess it probably is. Like I said, I went to the retro gaming arcade.
Yeah.
Like there was one retro gaming arcade that I used to go to a lot. It was in Takadanobaba Station. It's near there if you know where that is. And I used to play the games there, but I never played any, like I said, the fighting games. So I don't know. And there was another retro gaming center that I went to, and that's where I played like original Street Fighter, but they also had some newer games too at the time, was Street Fighter 4, and I played that, but I don't remember if it was like the whole mirror thing.
Yeah. So another thing, we also went to Draft Cade, and of course, Jupes and I already gave our thoughts on that one before. The only thing I do want to say is I guess there's a couple of new games here and there because Alien vs. Predator was not there the last time, so that's kind of cool. And also the Ghostbusters Shoot 'em Up was not working last time. Now it was. We didn't have time to play it though, but I'm sure we'll come back to check that one out.
Yeah.
So Johnny,
maybe in a few weeks.
Yeah. So it is your first time going there. What do you think of Draft Cade?
I think it's a very nice, spacious establishment. First of all, it's very cheap to get in because at least today, like for $10, you get the wristband and you can play all the games, of course, free play. But the addition to that is that they also have a bar and they serve food as well. We didn't get the food because we went somewhere else to eat, but that's a different story. But they serve a lot of drinks. Let's just say some of the drinks didn't really hit well with me. But for what it is, I do enjoy the atmosphere. You know, there's a lot of arcades, and I did enjoy playing the Aliens vs. Predator game.
Yeah, like I said, that's a fun game. Frustrating, but fun. And when it's free play, it's even more fun.
So hopefully next time, because we were a little constrained on time, hopefully next time we could just spend a much larger portion of the day just playing all the other games they have here as well.
So wraps up this episode of Video Game Masters. This is Mark Rodriguez here.
This is Johnny Rodriguez.
This is Jupi Chan, also known as Ninja Jupi, or you just call me Wendy. See you guys.
Yep, thanks for watching.
See you next time.
Bye.